Recently, I've been fortunate enough to witness the pinnacle of human compassion, kindness, and selfless bravery here in Minnesota. It has been regular people standing up to ICE for their neighbors, not a revolutionary vanguard consisting of the most class-conscious organizers. It isn't busfuls of paid Antifa foot soldiers funded by George Soros, though it may be because we've always been the place where those buses were departing to go elsewhere rather than where they come to. So really, we're just operating on our own turf here. And that's made all the difference, really. Unfortunately, I've also seen the capacity for human cruelty due to the actions of the Trump administration and the masked cowards that make up his secret police. Pathetic excuses for human beings so insecure that no amount of wealth or power will soothe them. Even as they attack the most vulnerable, they still crave more power, more suffering, more cruelty. They cater to the whims of a despot, rotting in his own moral and actual filth, pretending none of it stinks, but even if their noses fail them, they could see all the reasons they are fools for following the unconstitutional orders of the same monsters whose true nature, already well known, is being detailed in the Epstein files. I'm not going to attempt to settle the question over whether power corrupts people or corrupt people are just the ones that end up being empowered. But it seems to me that both are true at the same time right now. From what I've seen in my experiences in hospitality over many years, the wealthy are some of the most miserable people on earth and know everything they have comes from and depends on them having money. Therefore, they see everything as transactional. Even our deepest human desires and emotions and the things that make life worthwhile all depend on them maintaining as much money and power as possible. And they've corrupted our entire world with this way of thinking. As we fight to protect what we have left of our humanity, just think on the things that they've taken from us. So many families torn apart, lives ruined. What possibly could they think is justification for this? To them, everything is transactional or a means to power. That is the core of fascism. The only thing that matters is what makes you more powerful. When I look at the statistics of the horrific abuses committed by ICE, I think of all the incidents that have gone unreported, which I tend to think is the majority of abuses committed against people who have been deported. I think about the situations that lead them to come to the U.S. and seek asylum. The UN found that almost half of the women who obtained asylum in wealthy nations had faced past sexual assault. Migrants on certain smuggling routes are given contraception because being assaulted, it is considered almost a fee that women are forced to pay, as they're fleeing this very behavior. As I was researching this, I learned about an anecdote when Bill Gates had to beg Jeffrey Epstein to help him secretly give his then-wife antibiotics after he gave her a STD by accident. Epstein wasn't actually all that sympathetic and ended up blackmailing Bill Gates. So on one hand, we have refugees enduring horrific conditions, sexual abuse and physical assault, torture, fleeing with a vague hope of finding safety. The one thing that the United States should truly be proud of, that these people trust us so much that they're willing to come here. But of course, their safety and security is actually based on if there's a midterm coming up or what the political climate is. On the other hand, we have the powerful people who create the wealth inequality and wars that cause these humanitarian crises, that create refugees, trying to cover up their infidelity, as a divorce would be very costly to them, financially, of course. For all their wealth and power, they don't have one true friend they can confide in or ask for help, and they end up getting blackmailed by the financier that they use as a simple pimp. For me, the past few months have been constant whiplash, reading about how awkward, stupid, and pitiful the powerful are in real life, while seeing how their actions are hurting the most vulnerable. I watched men who brag constantly about how they're the most manly man to ever man get easily beaten down for all to see. And it becomes clear why they feel the need to brag about their prowess with women. But what I don't understand is why anyone would believe them, because it is so clear they have no good women in their life that they care about, or that care about them. They don't spend time with any women. All they do is mock men who like their partners and do things to show that they care for them, as if this is something they should be embarrassed of and isn't a clear sign that they have no idea how to talk to women, have no good women in their lives. Musk begged to be invited to Epstein's party like a child willing to do anything to sit at the cool kids' table with no identity of his own, while simultaneously being so stupid that Epstein had to remind him to speak in euphemisms because of what they were actually talking about. I laughed at the ICE officer slipping on the ice right in front of the porta potty until I saw him lead a handcuffed woman in there, a woman he kept in there for almost an hour. the fact that they respond this way, say that the officer was just preventing her from somehow barricading herself in a freezing cold porta potty, makes me believe they know that this has been happening. They have no intention of acknowledging the problem or stopping it. They may even hope that this offers an incentive for recruiting, and it might. I suppose the men they want to appeal to hate the women they gave every reason to reject them so much that they would choose to deal with this rage by taking it out on any woman, or maybe even on all women, if they could. I see ICE overreacting to people simply observing them doing their job, as they know they are violating so many of our constitutional rights. So they cover their faces, ashamed or scared of eventual justice being served to them. Meanwhile, the White House has to Photoshop tears and a frightened look onto Nakima Levy's face because she didn't look like she was in enough pain for their tastes. It distracted from their spectacle of constant suffering of people of color, and her bravery might be a bit too inspiring. So they lie. Of course they lie. They have to lie. They lie because the wealthy and powerful hate that they need us. Misogynistic men hate that they need women. They want to replace us with AI. But they're not going to get the same satisfaction of torturing a computer only pretending to suffer. Epstein's victims are often referred to as underage women to hide the fact that he targeted girls specifically, vulnerable girls that were easier to manipulate, and bragged about their youth in his emails. His depravity so well known that a researcher thought he would find it interesting that a newborn baby can be inspired to suck on a pacifier more vigorously when they hear the sound of their mother's voice. I'm frightened to think that we may find recordings of pregnant women in his file collection one day. If we do, it doesn't bear thinking about the fate of those women, much less their children. They are deeply insecure because all of their power and wealth is so easily taken away from them. It doesn't even come from them. It comes from the people who work for them. They crave love and approval. Elon Musk recently posted a picture of the AI girlfriend that he created online. It was about as old as his daughter is now, looking directly at him passionately and saying, "I will always love you." It's telling that this is the thing he creates, the one thing he can't buy. The sincere and undying love of another human being. Or the ability to genuinely sexually satisfy a woman. They can brutalize, buy and sell our bodies, force us to pretend to desire them, or enjoy being used for sexual pleasure by them. They can even trick our hearts, convince us we are ugly, and sell us fake confidence, or the means to look more like what is deemed beautiful, but also less like ourselves. But they cannot force us to love them, or hate each other. They cannot prevent us from recognizing that they need us, but we do not need them. So when you witness their cruelty, remember it is also the core of their weakness. And we must fight to build a better world, not based on hatred for their injustice, but love for those they have harmed. As the saying goes, let this radicalize you rather than lead you into despair, because a better world is possible.